There were massive demonstrations that reportedly drew some 350,000 people to Tel Aviv's Hostage Square in Israel. And this is coming on the heels of two separate days of mass protests where people were calling on the Israeli government to agree to a deal to release some of the hostages that are held in Gaza. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has publicly ruled out any further deals in which hostages are released in phases. Instead, he's demanding an agreement in which all the hostages are freed at once. Well, you add that to the way Israel now is edging into Hamas and the stronghold in Gaza City. Will there soon be an end to this war, one way or the other? Well, with me now to discuss this and more by phone is Congressman Michael Cloud. He's a member of the House Appropriations Committee as well as the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He represents the 27th Congressional District of the great state of Texas. Congressman Cloud, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Washington Watch.
Well, thank you. Good to be with you today.
Great to be with you, and thank you. All right, Michael, first of all, you were recently in Israel as part of a House GOP delegation that was led, in fact, by Speaker Mike Johnson. Share with us a little bit about what you saw and what you heard during that trip.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal trip. Actually, there was 4 members and the speaker that was on that trip with us. A lot of times you go on these trips and you're trying to glean information so you have a better perspective. Of course, anytime I go, I'm thinking about American interests because I represent the folks here in Texas. But we have a tremendous partnership with Israel as a nation, from intelligence to defense to, even things like desalination and some of the stuff they're doing in agriculture that we learned with. But it was amazing, of course, as a person of faith for me to be in the Holy Land, but then to not only glean the information that often helps us make better decisions, but we were in meetings where we're actually working to advance the cause of peace and really at times felt we were on the sphere of history going forward in the region. And it was really, from that standpoint, just a pretty phenomenal experience. We also had the opportunity to go down to the border of Gaza, visit one of the kibbutz that was completely devastated by Hamas, and just hear firsthand of some of the things that happened, and of course what the people in that region are having to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're literally coming up on the 2-year anniversary of that. October 7th will be here before you know it. I think clearly the Israelis do not want a forever war. But on the other hand, it seems as though Hamas is doing everything they can to drag this whole thing out. Would you agree with that?
Very much so, which is the reason they don't want to give the hostages back. Hamas cannot stay in power in Gaza. That is a non-starter of a conversation. They have demonstrated how evil they are and cannot lost any sort of moral authority to be able to regain power. And they know that the only thing that's holding them in power is the fact that they continue to have hostages, which is why they are not willing to return them. And they want to continue to drag this out and do this in sort of a piecemeal effort as they try to hold on to power. They are not good for the region. They're not good for, certainly, as they demonstrated, for the people doing their best to live in peace in Israel. And they do no favors to the people in Gaza as well.
Right.
Billions have gone into their economy and what they decided to do with it. Instead of build an oasis, they dug tunnels. They turned hospitals into ammo depots, and then we all saw the atrocities on October 7th and what they did there, and it's just inhumane.
Well, there's been, there's so much to say about all of this. There's been some good positive developments in all of this. For example, I think of Syria and Iran, and now we're watching some developments with Lebanon. So there's so much to cover. And Congressman Michael Cloud, I want to thank you for discussing that. Before I let you go, though, I want to switch gears and bring it much more closely to home to where you live. I wanted to get your take on all the developments across the various states regarding redistricting. And of course, your home state of Texas is right in all the heart of that. We've only got about a minute left, but just give us a 30,000 perspective.
Yeah, well, here in Texas, redistricting has passed. The maps have passed the House and Senate and just are awaiting the governor's signature. Of course, for those representing the areas, you kind of mixed feelings about it because appreciated working with and representing the people we've had the pleasure of representing, but also what we've seen over the last years as the left have completely weaponized redistricting in a sense, and for us to kind of right the scales in this in order to be able to do what we need to do for our national priorities is we understand what needs to happen here.
Right.
But the big arguments you see coming from the left, only reveal their hypocrisy. And you could go down the list of state after state after state after state,
yes.
and many of them see circulating X now, formerly Twitter. But
got to land it there.
You just see state after state. Yeah, they've done this so many times. So.
Congressman Michael Cloud of Texas, thank you so much.